live?
He came to vote, he just didn't have a vote on your committee.
Please rise.
Okay, we're live.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Okay. All right, there's only 3 checks, so I'll read those. Alex Marcoux is $338.86. Kristen Pash is $534.46. And James Saltzman is $82.16.
For a total of $956.18.
Sorry. Otherwise I'm gonna miss some of the checks.
Okay.
Fingers needed chapstick. All right, Sarah Perkish is $750.56. Kip Kaiser, $783.77. S is $226.26. Daphne Wass is $714.51. Andrew Bickham is $631.28. Andrew Gray is $516.51. Jason Gagnon is $100.43. Shayla Durkin is $87.73. Mary Lyons Hall is $166.23. Janice Weirs is $782.99. Kiki Dennis Wall is $687.46. Lily Grodzicki is $52.64. Joyce Kegel is $556.66. Caden Blazik Ahern is $898.91. Wayne Robinson is $956.78. Jeffrey Collins is $950.35. Warren Graham is $375.65. Trevor Whitby is $1,027.93. Evan Crafts is $475.08. Alexander Hall is $235.66. Alyssa Stanuski is $205.02. John Bryant is $979.26. Joseph Bird is $933.63. Katrina Tennant is $622.10. Karen Clement is $1101.98. Kevin Nealand is $803.89. Kendra Brackett is $409.23. Robert Gagnon is $355.62. Matt Kelly is $969.16. Kira Norris is $300.77. Richard Sawyer is $1,740.14. Christopher Spitaleri is $854.52. Josh Turner is $195.85. Jeremy Worcester is $559.49. And Jared Wright Ward is $964.89.
Total of $21,922.95 for a grand total of $22,929.12. We had 14 hours of overtime in the PD and 26 hours of overtime in the fire department and 26.5 in the highway department.
That's December 21
Right.
manifest.
Okay.
Are we doing 2?
Yes.
AED USA is $336. Joseph Bird, $9.99. Block 5 Technology is $744. Kendra Brackett is $14.35. Bruce Hermo, I messed that up. P&H LLC is $7,500. Two-way communication services $1,785. Comcast is $746.53. Impact Fire Services $1,542.90. IMS Alliance is $59. Joyce Kegel is $10.08. Kingston Electric Inc. is $3,837.50. LCP Transport is $2,324.52. Ralph Mahoney and Sons is $33.70. McFarland Ford is $1,376.66. Morton Salt is $5,551.18. Pine State Elevator is $165.24. Schwab Inc. is $39.75. Tritech Software Systems $236.25. And WB Mason is $1,387.30.
For a total of $27,699.95.
Block 5 is $377.10. E&J Auto Parts is $132.90. Exeter Flower Shop is $95. George Callaway is $47.50. LHS Associates is $300. NHDES is $50. New Hampshire Fish and Game is $2,059. Treasurer State of New Hampshire is $141. Title Communication is $205.29, and Valak is $186.45.
For a total of $3,594.24. The treasurer's trying to confuse us.
There's two, one for 12/31 and one for 1/11.
Security grab Andy's or?
Yes.
Sorry. Big pile.
Go ahead, Adam, I'm sorry.
Okay, this is a continuation from 12/31 of 2021. This is after the final tax receipts in the AP from 2021. The previous balance was $7,613,325.81. The deposits $159,756.43. The payroll that week was $32,138.28. Payroll taxes $7,813.81. The AP was $737,735.48. Today I added $27,699.95 to that total. The account balance was $6,967,694.72. Interest earned year to date was $2,468.05. This week's report is previous balance, $6,960,885.46. Our deposits were $14,826.69. The payroll was $22,929.12. The payroll taxes, $5,832.23. The AP, $3,594.24. We currently have an account balance of $6,943,356.56.
Thank you, Joyce.
You're welcome.
Motion for the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Motion for non-public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Joyce, can you hang on for 1 second? There's a memo from the planning board requesting a cash bond release of $45,000 for D&H Realty due to substantial completion of the project and recommendation from the Tons engineer.
Do we have a
Planning
motion?
board's okay?
Yep.
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Building permits. Andrew Avelis Jr., 64 Hague Road for a solar array. D&H Realty Trust, 388 Route 125 for an electrical permit and a sign. Eric Kelly, 63 Peabody Drive, electric mini split. Gerald Wills, 22 Dudley Road for a solar array. John Ayers, Revocable Trust, 72 Middle Road for an addition. Cocav Rowardink, 5 Wendell Drive, electrical upgrade. Andrew Avelis, 64 Hague Road for a solar array electrical permit. Biscotti Trust, 36 Long Meadow for a roof. Tiffany Fabiano, 304 South Road, electrical permit. And the Brentwood Fire Department, 419 Middle Road for an electrical permit.
Sorry. them on the back. Just makes it so much easier.
It's very logical.
That works. I like that.
I'm gonna do Chief Bird before you start the newsletter.
Sure. Joe?
Couple of different things. Oops, excuse me.
So we'll take that. I was taking the yellow thing. You can give that to Don. Give that to Karen.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So Karen brought forward last week that I was trying to encumber some money for a radio grant. This is actually the narrative for that grant. We've gone in with East Kingston, Newton, Kensington, Sells, and Southampton to write a grant for some new radios. If you read the last page, the very last page is what I'm looking for radios.
$13,075.85.
No, try the 261 all the way over to the right, the very last page.
261,000. What's the 13 underneath it? That's handwritten in.
No, that's, I gave you my copy. I gave you my copy.
the 13,000.
Well,
Oh, that's our match.
that's the match. That's the match. I gave you my copy.
I'm like, why do I got $13,000?
No, that's the match for the grant. It's a 5% match. If you read, I'm not exactly sure which page it is. Hang on a minute.
So you guys are doing this as like a
You're doing
A
it
group
as
buy,
a
basically.
regional grant type of thing. They, it's an opportunity to pick up some radios. Safer kind of looks at it better if you can do a regional type thing. And that was proposed to me and we got together.
that grant is $898,000.
They had to keep it under $1 million. They had to do some finagling in the middle. So everybody it was 800, yeah.
So what is our match? 13 what?
13, 1375.85.
Where is, Where is
It's not written on yours, it's on mine.
It wasn't mine, but it's still that.
So
Till I
Joe,
pull it back.
Joe, the 261 is just the dollar amount for the equipment we're receiving.
Right. The 261 is the dollar amount for mine.
Wow.
So basically what you're asking us is for 13,000.
Right, I'd like to encumber the 13,000 out of my budget from this year if I
Okay.
can do that.
And how much did we have left?
He had about 60.
And we encumbered some last week.
You
right?
encumbered 3,000.
Yeah, that was for some hose. I was gonna look,
3,255.
I was gonna look for another 5, but I've gone back on another grant that, is for 50,000. The equipment came back at 55, so we're looking at probably 10 for that one, but I haven't locked in that 55 yet, so
Okay.
I didn't wanna come back and say, yes, I need 10. I'm being
And then
honest.
basically, if you don't get the grant, then. this
Then,
money
then I
goes
go back to you
general
guys,
fund.
right?
when is the
to us.
decision, when do you expect a decision from the?
The radios would be April or May. If I get the other one, it's almost instantaneous. It's some money that the governor had put aside for EMS. I'm looking for a couple of new DFOs, life packs for the ambulances. And they were coming back at about 55,000, but I haven't got the final figure to say that.
Okay.
So
Is that the $50,000 grant?
that's the 50,000.
Is that the one we?
That's the one you sent me this way.
All right, so I'll make a motion for 13,075.85 to be encumbered.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Can I make a suggestion, you guys, and I'm not trying to tell you how to do this, but maybe you ought to think about setting some money aside for these grants, rather than trying to have it come out of somebody's budget after they go out and try to write up some grants. So if you set, I don't know, take a number of $50,000 and set it aside each year, and just be able to draw off of that rather than out of people's budgets, Because be honest with you, if the budget works the way it's supposed to be, that kind of money's not gonna be sitting there to do something like this.
Then you have to warn an article or something like that.
Right, or
to do
do
it.
something different with it, so if you guys were thinking about it, I would set it aside myself.
I mean, does this happen every year, or is this really?
I am looking at a couple more, to be honest with you. There's things that are out there, I haven't nailed anything down yet, but you take, anything. When I got the air packs, it was the same thing, it had to come out of my budget.
How long ago did you get the air packs?
Excuse me?
How long ago did you get the air packs?
Last year.
Last year,
Last year?
and that come out of my budget. So I'm just, you know, if the budgets get operating the way they should be, and you got the manpower you should have, that money's not gonna be sitting there, so it's, to me, it makes sense to set something aside. You know, if it goes back to the general fund if you don't use it, or you roll it over year to year and then it's sitting there. You know, the opportunity right now is there for grants. The feds seem to wanna throw money like it was candy at the moment, so if you're not looking into them and taking advantage of them, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, you think it might be too late because of the budget of where it is right now. However, I think it's a great suggestion for next
Well,
year.
and then whatever you guys wanna come up with, it's just out of my, you know, this 10, I may be coming back where it's an ambulance type of thing. I may try to include it into the ambulance when I do the ambulance, which, there again, I'm trying to get 2 more quotes for that. And I'm still coming back for that we've been talking about off and on, but I can maybe add it back into that depending on what that fund looks like. But only because it's the EMS end of it, you know, but it would, to me, it would make sense, you know, if the highway wants to go get something, or PD wants to go get a grant, the money's sitting there, and it's a pool you can pull from. You know, that's just my suggestion.
Most grants, you have to demonstrate that you have the money
Yeah.
for the match already there and available before you can apply.
Okay, all right. Well, if you do come back, I'm sure we'll be able to find,
No, I'm just giving you a suggestion, it's
Sure.
just a,
Well, I mean, maybe
Suggest
we
not-
set up a capital reserve fund for grants, I don't know.
you know, however you wanna do it, I would, just a suggestion,
okay,
you know.
I like the suggestion, and I think we can incorporate it into next year's budget.
And then I am probably gonna be looking for a warrant article. We're due for a truck in 2024.
Okay,
I'm looking for a warrant article for $50,000 to go into that fund.
How much do we have in there now?
Hang on, I got it written here somewhere.
Is this another pumper truck, or?
I'm looking probably at a ladder, the area needs one at this point, we need one, we should have one according to, I got it right here. I'm reading the rate, no, it's not the one, it's this one. Turn it over one more time, I get it right. Right now, there's about 169,000 in there. If you're looking at a ladder truck at the moment, they're about $1 million a piece.
And you're looking at what year?
2024.
Did we put money in this last year or no?
No,
No.
you haven't put
I
money
think
in
not
it.
for 2 years.
Yeah,
At least 3 years,
Two
yeah.
anyway, 2 or 3. You haven't put anything in it.
We've been putting it off as you were ramping up personnel.
When do we have to have the warrant articles in by?
February 1st.
Something to chew on.
is that it, sir?
That's it for me tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank-
Joe.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Robin, would you care to join us, please?
I'd rather not. I can see from here.
Well, we'd like you to be next to the mic.
I'm not going to be speaking tonight.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So for the newsletter, we're putting together for a warrant article to see if the town will vote and raise to appropriate the sum of $7,650 for the purpose of printing, postage, and distribution costs for the Brentwood newsletter. Majority vote required, all in favor.
So,
We've already put aside some for this year.
I can sit up here for Robin.
And you are?
Julie again.
Oh, thank you.
So the operating budget for the newsletter in 2021 was 10,200. So if you divide that by 12 or 11 months, it came to 927.
has anyone checked in with Andy about this issue at all?
When you say Andy, you mean?
Artonovich?
Well, he's not here tonight, so we can't talk to him. Are you gonna speak on his behalf?
Absolutely, no, absolutely not. I'm just wondering if we want, I mean, this has been kind of a thing for the town. I wonder if we want to have a full board for this issue.
Well, due to a medical emergency, he wasn't able to make it. If you're not happy with the way the warrant article is written, we'll be more than happy to take your suggestion.
I don't have any suggestion, but I'm just wondering if we want to have a full board.
And I know there's been some people don't understand that we've already approved how much so far for this year?
Right, so the operating budget in 21 was 10,200. 2,550 was included in the 2022 operating budget to fund the January, February, and March issues. And so the 7650 for the warrant article would be the remainder of the issues from April through the end of the calendar
Has the
year.
January, February, March issues been requested for the funding? Has anything been requested?
No invoices have been submitted.
So right now, there is 2,550 that they can submit for. Correct?
If you want to release it that way, or if you wanted to release it monthly, that's up to the board to
Okay.
decide.
What has been done in the past?
In the past, it was put into the operating budget, because there were so many people in town who wanted the newsletter. Was it last year or the year before that I think it rolled from one year into the next that we had an issue with it, right?
Yes.
That there was a meeting at the
Right.
Brentwood Rec,
Right,
because some people were upset about it.
right.
And then, and basically that's in there, and I know it pays for printing, postage, and distribution costs, but I know there's other costs that are associated with it. My understanding is those costs associated with it that are private revenue generated somehow.
Okay, last year, the 10,200, just for point of interest, the total expenses for 2021 was 14,431. So the 10,200 actually was insufficient to cover it. The Brentwood newsletter has been generating some advertising revenue from a couple times a year of $37.50. So for 2021, with the 10.2 and the $37.50 for the advertising revenue was kind of close to a break-even point. For this coming year, there's going to be an increase. The printing company that has been utilized by Brentwood Newsletter is kind of shutting down. So there's been quotes from Staples and a couple other sources. And where the cost per month has been $7.75 for the number of newsletters, it looks like it's going to go up to around $900. So actually the need to produce 11 editions is greater than the $10,200. I'm not totally averse as to why there's been some talk that there may not be the advertising revenue, if there's an issue with production, if there's an issue with support from the town to be able to guarantee to those that would want to advertise that they would have the ability to, that it's not a guarantee that the Brentwood newsletter would receive that $3,700 of support. So I just thought you should know that that's an issue.
So your new operating, if it goes from 775 to 900, would go to 11,575 from 10 to.
In addition, postage
to
is going up sometime during the year. So there'll be additional postage costs, plus with the new developments, there's more newsletters requested that will be sent out. So costs are actually going up. The biggest cost increases are for the printing and the postage.
So we have to come up with a more viable number. And your
Correct.
suggestion would be?
Well, we're projecting that total expenses will be around 16,000 for the year. And that's comprised of printing of 10,450, postage of 5,100, similar to last year, but a little bit higher. But the biggest increase will be the printing.
So to the members of the board, it appears that we're gonna have to change the number and let the legislators on March 12th decide what they wanna do. I personally am in favor of continuing the newsletter.
I'm in favor of continuing it, I just need to figure out what the number is.
Well, let's go with 16,000.
Well, it's 15,550. We've already done 2,550 that we've already put in there, right?
Yes.
Minus 2,550. So that's 13,000 even. I assume you guys still have some type of advertising and stuff you're still gonna be trying to get, right?
Yes, yes.
Approximately, do you know the percentage of that, or approximately how
Well,
much?
it's if probably around 3,000. It's
So
been historically around $3,700.
So you're looking for, then, so it's 13,000 if I take out the 2,550. So then you're looking for about 10 grand.
Plus the 2550 that's already in the operating budget.
So,
No, cause I'm at 15,500, cause I got $10,450 is what the printing and everything else is, postage is gonna be 5,100, correct?
we're,
I add that up, I
yeah,
get
we're projecting, well, when
15,550.
we have, okay, there's also,
Julie, can I make copies of that for the board?
It's rough right now.
yeah. Yeah, then, here. I have, our results of last year and projected for this year.
And how many subscribers do you have?
That I don't.
You
Can
know?
someone else answer that? Oh, I have it, it's on there, sorry.
Tell me.
Sorry. Okay, recipients in 2020 was 1,318. 2021, 1,352. And it probably will be a little bit higher in the current year.
Alright, so. So it's $1.04 roughly per mail, or per newsletter is what the cost is.
Thank you.
And how are you coming up with that? Just, I mean, I don't,
I basically took, I like numbers, weird. So I basically took what your budget is, right, so if you're looking for, I had 15,500.
well, actually, so let me, so included in that, if you look at what you were just given, we have bank fees, in case there, you know, sometimes there are insufficient fund checks, so there's fees. So bank fees, bulk permit fee to be able to send out the printing, postage printing, and there's usually some miscellaneous. So we have total expenses projected of 16.2 for the next year, for this year.
So if I take the 16.2, right,
2,500.
divide that by the 1,352 subscriptions you had, divide it by 11 months. Now I'm at $1.89, or $1.08.9, so $1.09 per issue.
Okay,
That's how I come up with that.
all right,
Because I just took your 1,352. Now if it goes up, then so does your cost, right?
right.
So what we need to do is come up with a number that goes into the warrant article.
Right, because we're anticipating that they're going to do about $3,000 worth of advertising, so that means I need 13,200. We've already approved 2,550. So 13,2 minus 2,550. That's 10,650. So basically, we're looking for an additional $3,000 to be added. So instead of being $7,650, they're looking for $10,650.
And is that covering you through,
December.
That would
right,
be
so then you're gonna hit the same snag that you hit
next year, right?
But,
Well, because our budget is annual.
Yeah, so it would be for this year, for the
but
fiscal
you're
year.
gonna have that budgetary gap again.
Right, could
Right.
we have the funding go into March of '23, so.
No.
Can't do that,
Can't do that.
unfortunately, because it's not the fiscal year.
Yeah.
We're not like the school where we run from, you know.
We have to stay within the 12
We
months.
stay within a 12-month
The
period.
12 calendar months or the 12?
Yes.
Yeah,
So where does the where does is that encumbered funds? Like, how does the,
the 2550 was already
Technical.
built into the budget that we're putting forward as our general budget, the operating budget. This would be a warrant article, which means it would be exclusive
Oh, it
just
came-
for them.
we put 25 into,
50
into
to
the-
cover to get
January,
us
February,
to-
March.
yeah.
So we're paying January, February, March already, we've already built into the budget.
So next year, would
We'd
the,
have to do the same thing.
Do you
What-
want, so you'd have this money warrant article, which you can discuss the scope. Do you want to have a second warrant article for the newsletter that would ask whether or not the legislative body wants to include this in the operating budget in '23 or in,
I don't think anyone knows what that means.
well, it'd be putting up to the voters, so do they want it in the budget or do they want it to see it as a warrant article at next
Yeah.
year's town meeting?
Yeah.
It would be completely advisory.
Yeah,
It
that's fine,
has
man.
no, but you'd get a sense from the people present what they would like to see that following year budget cycle.
Becky, what,
I'm just trying to follow the language here. I do have a question. You say that you have put money in the budget for a January, February, and March
yes,
issue this year. A concern on my part, that there was money voted at the town meeting last year to fund the Brentwood newsletter, yet the funding was withheld. We do not have the funds to advance for 3 copies, January, February, and March. And February and March are the largest because they are the election. So there are more pages, more costs for mailings. So concerned that we go ahead and produce January, February, and March, the vote by the citizens say not to fund the newsletter. How does the newsletter get reimbursed for the money already expended?
We've already approved the 2550.
But it's not enough. But it's not enough.
what's the shortfall?
If you break down 11 issues out of 16,000, that's what an issue costs.
So
Divided by 11, that's what
16.2 a year
divided by
is your
11
projection,
issues.
divided by 11 times 3, right?
Yeah.
so we're not offsetting any advertising.
That's
Well, we can't
$4,418.
guarantee it. If you guys, if it doesn't get voted in, why would, the advertisers aren't gonna give us money, we'd have to give it all back, because we have no publication, so that would make no sense.
We can't solicit money that we're not guaranteed to use for advertising.
We need your name for the record.
Oh, Tracy, Dakota.
Okay, so the question is, we need to make sufficient funds available for January, February, and March.
correct.
Well, then you'd have to reopen
The
the
budget.
general government budget and then send it back to the budget committee.
Okay,
And we have, and they would need, instead of 2,500, according to this calculation, I would need $4,418.18.
so we're talking about 1,500 and change.
To be added to it,
Okay.
right?
Well, not necessarily, because they didn't print a January issue, right, so then you'd only be funding the next 2.
So what was the cost for January because it wasn't printed?
It was still the same number of issues. It could still be printed if there's money, but there's no money to do that right now.
I think there was hesitation to print. But we had a board meeting and the intent, I believe, is to print it and get it out, if possible.
Okay.
You know, but before the end of the month.
All right,
So we'd have to add 19, hold on a second.
so what this really means is we have to go back to the budget committee, reopen the budget, and
Add
spend
in
some
the
more money.
$1,868.
And there's the budget committee chairman. Would you care to say anything? No. Okay. Any new news?
Well, this was, I was just getting what looks like an invoice, but I think this invoice is not correct. And I don't have, what is the amount that you, 16.2 divided by 11? I don't have my calculator.
It's 1472.
It's 18, I just did the 16 to,
It's 1472.
Okay, so,
yeah, 1472,
73.
yeah, 1472.72.
all right, so could an invoice for that amount be submitted, or now, or shortly?
Yeah, we've
Yeah,
already
sure.
approved 25, up to
Okay.
2550.
If you submit it tomorrow, we will cut the check for Tuesday of next week.
Okay, and then going forward, would it be like a monthly invoice?
Yes.
Or would that be the preference?
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's good to know.
All right? So Bob, come up with a number that we need.
So we need to, we've already approved 2550, but they need to have that budget modified, the original budget, to go in for 40, I gotta do this,
4419.
4419. So we need to bump that up, basically $1,900 into the budget.
So I understand that the budget committee will be meeting this Wednesday,
Okay,
so we will,
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion from this board to increase that by,
Well, you guys need to vote to
Oh.
reopen the budget and then vote to approve that new number if that's
Okay.
what you choose
So
to do.
I still feel strongly that we should, I mean, there's no huge urgency, there's no reason we can't do this 7 days from right now, with Andy present.
So why don't, would it be acceptable then for the newsletter to submit the invoice for the January issue?
The
I
money's
can
there, right?
process that, that's
Okay.
already
Sure.
there.
But
Alright.
like,
And then
there's
we can-
nothing holding
And then
up.
you can vote on the budget changes next week, and the
Okay.
budget committee
fine.
can go in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
and then we have to modify the warrant article.
Is
So
that
we're
an
good?
invoice there?
it needs to be rewritten.
Okay.
So then we need to have a new, we'd have to rewrite the
Julie, I'll
warrant
need a
article.
W-9 too.
Now, are you the submitter of the invoices?
No,
No.
Can I
Rob?
make a request? If you're gonna want invoices monthly, can you pay it in advance? So that we can actually pay the bills
Yeah, typically,
and get it
we used to
printed?
just release
I mean,
whatever
we
their budget was,
Yeah.
right?
used to just give the whole amount at the beginning of the year.
After
No-
town meeting.
Nothing else works that way. It really is a problem for transparency of government, if we're just
Well,
gonna cut
So
a check.
the problem on our end is, we have to then front the money with really no guarantee that you're gonna write the check.
unless the invoice is submitted the first of the month, and then it's,
The issue's already put together by the last week of the month.
If
So
the,
that commitment is there by the last Wednesday of every month. So if you don't get the check, she's going ahead with the printing will go ahead at the end of the week, before the end of January, before the end of February, before March goes out. So there is a time issue here with having the money up front, so that we can commit to the printer to go ahead and get paper supplies, toner, and have the time to do this.
Okay, let me ask one question. Is it your intention to publish the January issue?
I believe that is the intention.
Is that the intention?
Yes, why not?
Yes.
No, the question is that your
Yes.
intention?
It's ready to go.
Okay,
So, I mean,
we can
if this
take-
thing goes to a warrant article and it passes, that's the only thing that you can spend the money on,
Right,
right? So like if the people say at the town meeting, yep, you're gonna fund it, and it has to go anyway, we're gonna pay it
That's-
anyway.
Well, technically, that's not really true.
no,
No, I'm just saying,
clarify what you're
They're-
talking about.
they're nervous about, I get what they're nervous
Sure.
about, and I'm acknowledging that and appreciate that. Technically,
I don't know what this is,
When-
Karen.
when the town people vote on town meeting, they're voting for an amount of money.
That's correct.
The select board, I'm not saying I'm supporting this, let's just be super clear. Technically, the select board can then appropriate those funds to any line item, because the select board, right? But no, you understand that is technically what's, I'm trying to lay they're not wrong. The townspeople vote an amount of money.
That's correct.
We have the discretion, if it hits the fan, we have the discretion to move money from line item to line item. That is how it works. Like, it's just, I'm not making an argument to do any of that. I'm just saying that is how the budget process works.
Okay,
Can I ask a question to clarify that? So basically what you're saying is if the townspeople vote for the money for the Brentwood newsletter and then you change your mind and you don't give it to us, you have that option. Is
no,
that what
no, no,
you're-
that's not what he's
No,
saying.
that's, yeah.
Is that what you're saying, John?
I'm saying that I would never do that. That is not something that I would feel no, can I finish, please? I mean, I'm trying to be,
You have the floor.
I'm trying to be respectful. Okay. All right, forget it.
No, I want to hear. You can tell me.
I mean, I'm trying to be respectful. I'm
Right.
just trying to be like, that is something that can happen. And like, the composition of this board changes every year, right? Like, there are 2 new people that are gonna come onto the board, we can't control that. I acknowledge I'm worried about that for you too. There's gotta be a way that we can figure out so that you guys aren't out of pocket money and worried that you're gonna get the check. That's a legitimate concern. And that we're doing it all above board. That's the only thing that I'm trying to say.
Could I say something?
Yeah.
How about if the town approves the warrant article to fund the newsletter, and you transfer the money to the newsletter to operate? And they submit a bill every month to show you what they've spent from the budget that they have. Instead of saying, hey, the board might change, and we might not like the newsletter, we might not like what's in there, or we might do what we did last year, and you can eliminate all that. If the town says they want the newsletter, put the money in an operating budget for the newsletter, period. End of conversation.
I find it hard to believe, but you're right. That's what I'd like to see.
That's how it's happened in the past. It's not like I've invented something. This is what happened until last year.
Take a deep breath.
Okay, all right. Get us that invoice as soon as you can for January. Tomorrow would be great.
All right,
But you won't see the money till next Wednesday because
That's
of
fine.
the process.
that's fine.
Okay. Any other issues with the newsletter?
Did you wanna pause on the warrant article?
Yeah. let's
Yes,
wait- let's wait
that's
for it.
John's suggestion until next week.
Alright, so we'll table
Okay.
that.
So next week, we will again discuss the warrant article when we have all 4 members.
Okay, so
Right.
right now.
Madam, you have a question in the back?
I do.
Janice, I
Janice
keep,
Spears, speaking for the library. I just have a question, more of a concern. I've always felt that I was a partner with the newsletter as far as submitting town news, and that's how our patrons get information. I was concerned that there was no way to print this current issue that is only available online, because I have a significant number of patrons who do not have access to computers. And of those that don't have access to computers, even if I provide the access at the library, which I very well can, trying to read on a screen with a watermark on it is very difficult. So I'm concerned that access is being denied to a significant portion of our community. And as the librarian, it's my job to provide information.
Right.
So I'm just wondering, obviously, we're still talking about whether it's gonna get printed or not. If it's not, is there a way for us to print it or to get just minimal copies? I just want, a couple for the library. Is that possible?
is that possible, Robin?
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
No, I'm asking Robin a question.
Yeah, but Michelle's speaking about it.
So you raise a very good point about the importance of having it printed. Thank you for stating that. And yes, if we are gonna have the funds to print the January issue, we will absolutely have those copies available that you usually receive.
Okay,
They
but
will be
if
in
for
print
some reason,
format.
I don't know where this is gonna go, and I do think it's very important. I agree with you. I would hate to see the Brentwood newsletter not exist. We have a historical record of them. We actually keep 2 copies in our files so that people can do research and, take a look at what has previously been printed. I guess I'm asking from a department head point of view, is there a way that I can access an ability to print, even if it's like 2 or 3 copies, if for some reason it isn't printed this month?
Well, I think they've
It-
already
it-
confirmed it's gonna be printed.
It will be printed.
Okay, it is gonna be printed,
Yes.
all right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes.
Seems how you're pushing the warrant article off till next week. What if someone's sick or out next week? Is that gonna be pushed off further?
Probably not.
Okay.
It has to be done by February 1st.
February 1st.
Yeah, so we have to make a decision.
Any other further questions? Thank you all for participating. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
coming.
We have, what's this next thing? Is this some choice we should address?
No, I just have one quick request, also, I think. So, it seems like, one thing
We're
that
still in session, please.
we struggle to have the time to be able to keep up with is bank reconciliations. So the treasurer has to balance her books to the bank statements, and then my office needs to balance our books to the treasurer, either the treasurer's statements or to the bank statement. Either or is acceptable to the auditors. So we're able to keep up with all of our cash receipts, all of our other monthly, quarterly, year-end reporting. The one thing that seems to always kind of continually bog us down is the cash recs. And since that vacancy happened in August, those recs haven't been completed. So I was looking to see if it'd be possible to encumber funds out of the finance budget to be able to execute a contract with Municipal Resources, Inc. So they have a team of finance professionals, and we would contract with one in particular that is very familiar with this process, and they would come in, and that would be their sole purpose. So it's estimated, it used to be, when Carolyn was here, it used to take her about 8 hours a month. So I'm figuring about 8 hours a month. If we did it for a year, it's $76.80.
Would they get us current again?
So they could get us current, all caught up, so that we could proceed with our audit for, in March, right after town meeting, with our 2021 books. And then if that process sort of moves smoothly, I thought that might be a small cost that we could potentially continue, and then that would eliminate the need for additional staff hours, because I think being able to do everything else is very manageable for 2 people at the full-time hours. It's just this one task that just, it seems like there's always something that pops up, and this kind of gets pushed to the back burner because it's so time consuming.
And is this all they do for all these other towns?
This is all this one person would do. So this one professional in particular, he wants to, this is sort of his specialty. He wanted to come down on Thursday, sort of look through the fund accounting books, look to see sort of, how organized we are, to see how much of a mess or not mess, to give me a good solid estimate on time, and then make sure that it would work for the both of us. But if he doesn't work, MRI could send someone else that would be, just as qualified.
But that's all that company does?
That's all that. Yeah, they'll outsource, like they do a lot of work with different towns, so they do this kinds of work, they do a lot of work on like the HR side, they'll do all of the interviews, so sometimes if the Board of Selectmen doesn't wanna do the interview process, they'll do all of that legwork, they'll do the resumes, they'll scout, they'll do the, the interview process, all of that legwork themselves, so that's sort of their specialty for municipal towns.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to encumber the $7,680 for this MRI, what is it, municipal what?
It's Municipal Resources Incorporated.
Okay.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you. I believe that concludes my portion of the meeting.
All right.
We have non-public.
I do not have
Oh,
anything
no,
this
no.
week unless you guys do.
Anything?
Anything for the public?
Becky? You're satisfied? How about a smile?
Yes.
And take Bill with you.
And I'm just gonna say this because I don't know enough about computers to make I know enough to make myself dangerous, but that's about it. I don't know if it's still recording or not, but we got an open widget error.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it is. All I know is it's still circling. I'm gonna hit end stream once we end this meeting, but I don't know if we're recording.
I don't know, and this died too, so that blessed me with a minute.
All right, Janice has an issue.
No, I just wondered, is it possible to discuss the warrant article for the library while I'm here, or would you prefer I wait till next week?
That's not on the agenda, have we seen it?
It wasn't on the agenda, so Janice was going to come in next week, and then I let her know about the newsletter, so she did ask if she would be able to present that.
Come on up, Janice.
Thank you.
Is this a hypothetical situation, or?
This is a warrant article for the
No, it's a
amphitheater, so you
And
guys
again, I
have
don't know if we're
discussed,
recording because I still got an error with an
you've
open
discussed the
widget.
amphitheater at several previous
Okay.
meetings.
It says I got 4 current viewers, but
Okay.
Sounds right.
So I've never done this before, I don't know,
Okay.
do you want me to read what we have for?
Yeah, that would be nice, so we know what you're talking about.
All right. So we would like to put in a warrant article to see if the town will vote to establish a library amphitheater capital reserve fund under the provisions of RSA 35:1 for the design, demolition, and construction, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be placed in this fund. Further, to name the library trustees as agents to expend from said fund. And that would be a majority vote required, I believe?
Yep.
Okay.
Any questions?
Did you, I know, Bob Stevens from Stevens Associates, they were working on,
Yeah, we have several quotes, so we're looking at what will be our best option. Once we figure that out, that would be the first part of the money that we would take from the warrant article, and then the remaining would go actually into the process.
cause you guys gotta figure out what to do with septic and, cause it's all incorporated kind of in that big mass.
Exactly. There's a lot to it. Obviously, this is just a start, but we do want to get the process rolling, especially because of the safety issue. But also during COVID, it would have made a nice place to be able to do outdoor meetings, outdoor programming, you know, so.
Without falling through, cause
Without falling through and.
It is
yeah,
rotted.
Exactly.
if you put wood on the ground, it
And I have
rots.
talked to Wayne, today actually about putting up some of that, orange, they call it
Barricades.
snow fencing, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah, so he's looking into that and he's gonna get back to me tomorrow, so hopefully we're gonna have that encasing it, to keep people out.
I'm fine with making the motion for a warrant article
Okay.
To recommend.
to make recommend.
All in favor?
Do we have a second? Oh, thank you.
Yes, I,
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. You gave a nod.
You're talking, he's acknowledging.
non-verbal.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for your vote and thank you for allowing me to
Thank
speak
you.
tonight.
All right, anything else from the public? Motion to adjourn.
Ah, thank you.
Second.
We're done.
All right, now I'm gonna try to end this, and hopefully the widget doesn't do whatever the hell it's doing. It doesn't open widget.
I don't know what that is. What happens if you say to open it?
It's already open.